created in the period that you seek to serve your populace? And how many have been lost over that period? It is a question that in several places wins elections or loses elections. Here, I think it is still the way that wins or loses. Honorable Minister. The Honorable Minister will do 10 minutes. I wouldn't mind less.
Thank you very much. The panelists and all participants. My God. IT. Should I use this? First of all, I'd like to criticize this forum.
Oh, really?
I'll start with that. Because if we are fighting unemployment amongst the youth, it seems all of you are actually employed. Why don't we have the unemployed on board? How are you going to take the message across? Because I had tailored my presentation to the unemployed. So when I came in here, I thought I was going to lecture. That's why I was excited to see Mr. Chichi. And I said, good, now we are going to talk about entrepreneurship and how these people could become entrepreneurs. But apparently all of you are above that. You know how an entrepreneur is, who an entrepreneur is, and what entrepreneurship is about. So now a forum like this, I'd like to challenge you. How are you going to control unemployment yourselves? Here, when we don't have the youth represented. So the problem starts from there. We are actually creating unemployment ourselves. Because the people who are supposed to benefit from what we are presenting are not here. So I'm sorry to start from that note, but I'll just make a few points. We know very well that 65% of our population are youth. And I've had people saying, oh, it's unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate because they are a resource. They are actually a resource in this country, they are a resource in Africa, and we are privileged to have that percentage. Unfortunately, that presentation was tailored for the unemployed youth, so I don't see, I'll just speak off the cuff. There are categories of youth. When we come here, we just generalize the youth. There are categories of youth. They are the skilled, they are the unskilled, they are the intellectuals, and those in the private sector. But whoever stands up to speak says, oh, private sector must create jobs. But remember, we must look at farming as well. There are youth who have not gone to school in our villages. Because let me talk about the rural youth. When I was working as a public servant, some of these concepts actually did not come into perspective because we're running around with policies, we're running around with budgets, we're running around with instructions. But when I came out as a politician, that's when I realized that there are categories that we need to pay full attention to. And these are the unskilled and semi-skilled. I'll not talk about intellectuals because intellectuals will walk in and get a job somewhere. Although they come to me and say, oh, we can't find jobs. But let me talk about each category of youth before I go into what the ministry has done and plans to do. Let me talk about the educated. I sit in my office and every Thursday I meet people. And about 50% of the people who walk in are looking for jobs. And these are people who are actually the educated. First of all, he walks in with a very low demeanor because he's full of low esteem. He's educated. He's empowered already. But he walks in and he slams himself in that chair in front of you. Says, sit. Even though he finds me doing some work, I peep and look at his expression. Very low esteem. He walks in and says, I'm looking for a job. I said, what job? What do we want to do? Oh, madam, anything. Really? Anything. What do you mean by anything? Well, anything. So I say, can I have a look at your papers? Oh, madam, I didn't know I would find you. Really? But tomorrow, I'll come with them. So I said, but what do you want to do? What did you do? Education. Oh, you want to be a teacher? No. I want to do business. What kind of business? But you're looking for a job. So, let us work on the mindset of that youth. You're talking about all these policies. You're talking about the private sector. How does this person feature into that sector? Let us work on the mindset of the youth themselves. That is one. Mindset. So how many of you are ready to work on the mindset of that person? We sit through it. He's coming, he said he'll bring his papers tomorrow. But I tell him his areas of strength. I ask him, what are your areas of strength? Then he's lost. These are the educated. These are the universities Andrew is talking about. It is good. The foundation is there with all these institutions in place. So when I sit here and hear, what has the government done? The government has done enough, has created a foundation for that youth. But we all have a role, you who seated here, to work on the mindset of the product of that institution. Secondly, now let me talk about the skilled, the semi-skilled. The semi-skilled is more confident than the educated. Have you noticed that? Because the semi-skilled is focused. He knows what he wants. He walks up to you and he says, Madam, I want to be a carpenter. I've got some basic training. But he does not ask for money. He asks for a kit, a carpentry kit. And those have helped, if I'm able. So that semi-skilled is more focused. The unskilled needs guidance. The unskilled walks to you and says, can you buy me a boda? Madam, I want to buy a boda, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can see. He's not focused. So it is your role, you, who seated here, to guide the unskilled. But when do you access the unskilled? When? When? Let us sit here and ask ourselves. We have come here to talk about job creation. Who's creating it? When do you access the unskilled? When do you access the semi-skilled to give him that carpentry kit? And would you give that person that carpentry kit? You will not. We will end up in these workshops tomorrow, the other day. But our youth will continue being unemployed until we roll out into the communities. We should have had this forum in PG, in Kamengo, yes, in Maokota. Yes, let us start addressing issues head on. Let us not just come and talk about issues and go away. After this forum, what? What are the diversions? The diversions of the youth. in Uganda? Before I go in trade, I know I don't have much time. Perceptions. Perceptions is people think, oh, I must have a lot of money to be successful. I must be able to work with a politician to be successful. Perceptions, we must work on the perceptions of the youth. Poor saving culture. Those who have the little money they have, they don't save. Even us, if we ask ourselves, how much do we save a day? Do you think you can save 10,000 a day? You are just thinking about spending. From here, you're going to do this. You need fuel to do this. You need what? You need airtime. People go into loans. For example, in government, we have these loans. But the youth, do we guide them enough? This is another challenge. We don't guide them enough. They think it's just free money. They walk in, borrow this money. But what plans do they have? Of course, we have other social evils like gambling and betting. Gambling and betting, most of the youth end up indoors. What are we doing about it? Of course, people are waiting for government to do something. But what are we doing ourselves? Like organizations like this, what are we doing about it? RDC, maybe you have plans. Congratulations. High propensity to consume is another evil. I've had a number of youth who walk in with budgets. I'm waiting. And the budget is about 50, 60 million. What high propensity to, who is helping this youth? High propensity to consume. He wants money for a budget, he doesn't have a job. So what is the ministry doing about some of these issues? We have programs. We have programs called, I'll start with MTAC. MTAC used to have courses in Nakawa. But now they've rolled out to the districts. When I came into the office, I said, how can you sit here and have courses, expensive courses? People are paying for them. So I guided them, I said, roll out to the districts and avail cheaper, affordable, and even free courses. So they offer even free courses, entrepreneurship amongst the unskilled and the semi-skilled in the rural areas. They are in 13 districts now, but they normally have sessions, 2-day sessions in some of these villages. Uganda Investment Authority is doing the same. They have sessions of entrepreneurship and even skills. And I have noticed that actually these sessions have an impact on the youth at the grassroots. I have seen them changing and planning. I'm under a lot of pressure, they're killing me. We have one village, one product. This is value addition. And we have tailored these projects to the women and youth. We have rolled out to about 25 districts. And what do? You establish, you tell the youth to form a cooperative and women. And when they form them, we give them a machine. For example, rice huller, maize mill. We've been in a number of districts. We've been to Serere, we've been to Lera, we've been to PG, we've been to a number, but there are 25 of them. So we offer machinery so that people can add value to whatever they grow in that area. So you're offering skills, you're offering employment to the youth. But I feel we as politicians also need to come out. We have a role to play. What role are we playing? We don't just sit in parliament. We should not just sit in parliament. We should go out and train entrepreneurship. I've done a number of, I can talk about myself because I cannot talk about others. First of all, if you want to have a successful, it has to come from health. It must be a healthy human being in order to be prosperous. So I have a foundation. We have helped the youth. Show them the slide of the youth. We have given out chapati projects. We have shown them how to make bricks. We have shown them how to make candles, and they're actually very successful. Some of those we have engaged. So all of you, I would request that you also tag along a youth and underprivileged youth. Support him, help him, guide him, work on his mindset. He will make a difference in your community. Thank you so much. Chibazo's killing me. Thank you
Thank you very much.
My God.
Not exactly very
That's a
easy.
breeze.
We're going to run the microphone for as many opportunities of feedback as possible. The usual, we'll try to keep it brief and incisive. I'll start on my left, which is this side. Someone is asking, which is my left? Okay. Professor Michael Lejeune, some time back, said that according to him, former Vice Chancellor of Uganda Matters University, then National Council for Higher Education, says Uganda's biggest problem is actually the number of people that access university education. That we have too many degrees compared to the needs of this country. He thinks people should be skilled and trained in areas that will make them work other than the degrees we receive. Richard. I'll do Richard, and then from Richard, Godba, and then Kampala's DC, and then Asman.
Thank you, Joel.
Peter, actually. I enjoy the film Joel enjoys.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Peter. You know when you say you're going to do me, I start getting concerned. But thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. Bwana Mchichi, we have engaged on youth entrepreneurship, youth employment, as part of the United Nations Association. And Madame Amelia, you know, Madame Amelia, I used to go to her when I was a university student, and she was saying, "See what's up." I'm glad now you're in politics because you seem not to understand us whenever we come to the function. As university leaders. You see, and those are the realities. One is there is a tendency to criticize these kinds of sausage forums. And these sausage forums we have all the time. We are there with the Chichi, with the Chibazo, and all the time it's in the hotels. But these sausage forums have linkages with the Demokota forums. Yeah, they are linkages. So this is not entirely empty. Yeah, with the Chapati forums, yes. There are certainly linkages. And we need to see those. That is why I will be a frequent flyer, probably elite, the silver, whatever they call it, platinum elite. But we are not doing nothing for youth employment. So we need to see those linkages and not be just critical of these forums and of the principle. That is one. Two, and that's what I was asking you, how much in strategy, in resource mobilization, do we dedicate to attitudinal change? That really was my question all the time. Because we have experimented with attitudinal change all the time. Now, for me, our experience has been, because we experimented with a group of 30 youths from the ghetto here in Uganda, with the musicians. The dropout rate has been higher than when we are dealing with those who have been to school a little bit. And the diversions are pregnancies by border guys, you are dealing with the Ejaga, some of those. So how much in the ministry, in government, the entrepreneur is? Because we do social enterprises. How would we be here if Godva and ASA did not start a social enterprise? How do we focus there? And for these questions, yes, we need to really engage with them. How much of our time and strategy and resources do we dedicate to attitudinal change? That all seem to say. Thank you, Richard
actually gives me this. I that we do not exceed 2 and very brief.
Yeah, I have 2 points. Thank you, our speakers. First of all, just based on my personal experience, the difficulty of enterprises, and really borrowing from what you said with that story of the Mulongo. That I have been working with communities in my village. You try beekeeping, I tell you it's difficult. Because you go get the beehives, you make them locally, some you buy, you don't have control over bees. It can be frustrating. You go poultry, you realize that you need more than just having a shed and the chicken. Because it's a full-time job, but these are households which are engaged in so many other things. So there's a problem there. And then if I look back in my child days, one of my biggest trade in school was Kabaragara, selling sweet bananas at school, which paid for tuition for me. But you go to many parts of Uganda and Western Uganda, the banana plantations are gone, the coffee plantations are gone, and it's like, so sometimes when we say, there's a problem of attitude, I think there's something much more than just attitude that we need to do. And the second point is about changing mindset. I think that actually the most important thing that needs to change is the mindset of government. Because once the mindset of government changes, it can easily have a catapult effect on the population. What is the mindset of government in Uganda? One is that government thinks Kampala solves your problems. So everywhere, even the Youth Livelihoods Program, Ministry of Gender, you go and work with the local governments there, the team at the local government, those people, there's a huge resource, a huge reserve of resource, but the way we have structured our budget, those guys really do not do a lot in terms of dealing with attitudinal change, mobilizing and organizing people. I can assure you there isn't much that is going on because of the financing structure. Two quick other explanations. One is government also, our government likes doing small things. There's too many small things that we do. So a youth livelihood program is like you can give 1 million, 2 million to each individual, each youth. And our attitude is like, for you to get jobs for the youth, you make the youth employ themselves. And I'm like, no. I think that what you need is to put a youth livelihood program and put a criteria, get people who have business ideas, who can demonstrate they can get jobs for the youth to go and do the business. But the idea that you'll distribute money, definitely I have issues with that.
Aisha.
Thank you. I think this one kept on stealing my notes.
Well, you have rights to address
I got disappointed when I heard what we have been planning for the youth livelihood program. To 248,000 youth, and the Honorable Minister has just said we have 65% population of the youth. That's more than 20 million youth. That means what we have been planning for the youth is an insignificant kind of plan for the youth, very, very small. And we are popularizing this. For me, my disappointment is the amount of time we put in to popularize it. We create a lot of sensitization that every youth will come on board to demand for this program. They don't even know that the program is for 14 districts. So now everywhere, this number we have is not even enough for Kampala. I don't know what we should do because every youth out there is looking for youth livelihood programs. And it seems like we have maybe 100 villages, something like that, which is just a very small figure. And I want to support my neighbor about government change of attitude in another way. You know, for example, we have a ministry for national guidance. Now, before we blame STON for not guiding the youth, why can't we take on the Ministry for National Guidance for not guiding our youth? the youth are out there. For example, there was an opportunity for many youth to go to Iraq and make money. They earned a lot of money, $1,000 per month, lots of money. They came back and misused their money. There was nobody to help them. So government thinks must only do the roads and the water and other things, and they think other things will come on naturally, and they haven't been able to come naturally. I can see you really want to cut me off. I support Andrew that perhaps to solve the unemployment problem, we have to deliberately invest. This money we scatter in small bits and give to thousands of youth, if accumulated, can make big investments that can employ big number of youth and have a meaningful impact on our economy. That's splitting it there and getting misused and keep on lamenting about misused loan funds.
Thank you. Aswan, and then I'll take Aswan on that side. Yes, Aswan.
Yes, Chairman, one, I think we seem to be getting something wrong. This country has never been short of good policies. For me, when I look at you talking about this policy and you're talking about the sector of unemployment, you see, the issue here is entirely governance. In this country, it is governance. If you want to talk about issues, especially relating to the youth,